This is the first production version of the new ECE 2206 Schuberth C5. So this is the first independent real-world road test review of what is one of the most important helmets to be released for a long time. Now I know a few shops have done reviews of this lid, some more useful than others, but I'm not trying to sell you one or any other helmet. I'm paid a salary to produce content that builds trust in our brand, not anyone else's, so frankly it's no skin off my nose if you buy one of these or not. BikeSocial is part of Bennetts Insurance, and our new BikeSocial membership is where you can become part of the UK's biggest motorcycle club and make some huge savings on riding kit, accessories, track days, training and much more. Check it out at bikesocial.co.uk/join, but know that none of that has any bearing on my editorial integrity. Right, the C5. Let's start this review by explaining that I've not been much of a fan of Schuberth for the last few years. I've had the C3, C4 and the C4 Pro, but they've all been lacking in different ways for me. As I stand here right this second telling you about this, I've tried it on, but not ridden in it. That's later in this video, as I'm shooting this bit between days working at Motorcycle Live. I'm going to put some miles in today and ride up there tomorrow, so I'll film the rest of this in the hotel room before uploading it. Hang on, as you watch this, that's already happened. But anyway, first impressions are that this feels like a quality lid. It's hard to explain until you get your hands on one, but it's solid, the chin bar moves smoothly and locks down positively, and the lining is of a high standard. The only thing I'm not keen on is the vinyl logos being on the top of the paint. I'd have liked to have seen them under a lacquer. It's also a distinctly different shape compared to the old Schuberth flip fronts, and for me, that's a good thing. And this new lid is a complete redesign. The company has really gone back to the drawing board, and frankly, I think they needed to. It's a shame you only get a quick start instruction guide. I'd have liked a proper owner's manual rather than a link to an online PDF, but anyway. The C5 comes with a Pinlock 120. That's the highest rating, and it's already installed, which is unusual. And this is a lot better than the pretty useless thing that was fitted on the C4. The C4 Pro did get a proper Pinlock. Before that, it was nasty. Now look at this too. If you open the chin bar while the visor's open, wherever I put it, open it up, the visor obviously catches there, but when you bring it back, the visor stays exactly where you put it, which I think, you know, that's a great thing, because, you know, popping it open, if you've set it where you want it, that's great. Now the C4 didn't do that, and nor does the Shoei Neotech 2. Oh, and I've already checked with a hose, and this top seal does work well, stopping any drips getting down the front. Now this is homologated as P and J, which means you can legally ride in it, open or closed. There's a little red tab here that locks it open. I can't see anybody bothering to use it, to be honest. It stays open pretty well, but you know, if you want to, it's there and it's for homologation. I do love that there are thumb tabs on either side of the visor, which make it easier to pop it open when you're stuck at the traffic lights holding in the clutch and you want to use your right hand. Gone is the little latching tab of the older models, but it seems that you can still easily just pop it open. Again, I'll find out more about that when I'm riding in it later in this video. There is, of course, a drop-down sun shield. It has got a little tab on the slider that allows you to limit how far it comes down, though. Actually, for my nose and my face, I'd have liked it to actually have come down a little bit further. The front has two vents, one that feeds up inside the visor and another that directs it straight through a removable filter to your mouth. On the top, there's another vent that can be set closed or at one of two stages open. Now this feeds two holes inside the lining which have a mesh inside to stop any bugs getting through. Now anybody who's had a horsefly or wasp somehow bullseye their way straight in this port, something you'd think was impossible to do even for a computer, will know how valuable that mesh could be. Now you can take this top vent off to clean out any bugs and of course keep the slider dirt free and well lubed. It actually feels a little bit stiff to me at first, but that may well smooth up. Now this is neat. The top part of the inner lining has a tab that can be flipped forward to cover the top vent holes. And this reduces the airflow when the vents are open, but still allows it to go over the head and to the exhaust and down the rear. You can also remove the chin skirt, of course, for more airflow in the summer. And the lining is pretty unique. Despite being made up of 8 separate pieces, it's easier to remove than the older ones, as these straps, which are designed to reduce the chance of the lid rolling off the back of your head in an accident, are better managed than the cheek pads. Does need a bit more work to put it all back together, and the neck skirt still needs care to remove, as these little tabs have to locate into the front. So pull that back carefully. But look at all these measurements. Schuberth supplies custom fit parts for these, so you should be able to get a perfect fit whatever shape your head is. Within reason, of course, but your dealer will be able to help you get it spot on. Now, this one weighs 1,695 grams, which is the same as the standard C4 Pro, and of course more than this carbon version, which is 1,491 grams. It's about the same as the Shoei Neotech 2. To be honest, I've yet to find a lid that feels heavy in use. What matters is the wind drag, but we'll look at that later in this video after I've ridden in it. Price-wise, in plain colours like this, the Schuberth C5 costs £499.99, while in graphics it's £599.99. The direct competitor is the excellent Shoei Neotech 2, which costs £519.99 to £549.99 in plain colours and £599.99 in graphics. And when we look at the price, this C5 comes ready for the Schuberth SC2 intercom system. I do hope to try that down the line, but on paper it appears to basically be the Senna 50S, which I've already reviewed, and you can check that out in the description. But basically it's a flagship intercom that works over Bluetooth or mesh, which can offer an improved range. Now your mates will need Senna mesh intercoms for the mesh to work, but there has been a deal signed with Interphone, which might mean there'll be a bit of cross-compatibility in the future. Now this Schuberth already has the speakers and wiring built in, as well as 3 antennae which are said to improve FM radio performance. We'll be testing that. So the SC2 does seem pricey at £349.99, but buy it at the same time as the lid and you'll probably save the VAT, so that takes it down to £279.99. The sleek design and convenience of having the intercom built in is something that only you can decide if you want to pay for. But if you do prefer to use your own intercom, I can't see it being much of a problem. If it's a Senna and it has these connections, which the 50S does, you can leave the speakers in and then just connect up to them. But if it's another brand, you should still be okay. You'll need to pull out these stuck-in speakers, but assuming yours are no more than 44mm in diameter, they should fit. There's a slight ridge on the side where you'd likely stick your intercom, but I think you'd be okay. Do check before you decide though, because I'd hate for you to try it and then, oh, I wish I'd bought the intercom at the same time and saved 20%. So that's an overview of this high-end glass fibre lid, and as it's the only 2206 flip front you can currently buy, that also makes it the safest. But now let's go over to me in a Premier Inn to find out how good it feels. Right, so yeah, here I am in a Premier Inn, and about 100 miles in the C5 now. It was chucking it down with rain on the way here this morning. Dried out very briefly, but I still had plenty of chance to try everything out on it. And yeah, first impressions, I'm genuinely really impressed. So, you know, I've been using a Neotech 2 for a long time, very good helmet. I haven't been impressed with Schuberths for quite a few years that haven't suited me. But so first off, let's say the comfort. Some people say they have certain types of heads. I must admit I haven't found the fit that good on recent Schuberths for me, especially the flip fronts seem to sit quite high up here. This just fits me great. It's a 57, I'm typically a medium, about 58. You've got that adjustable interior on here. I reckon I could do with a slightly thinner front, maybe fractionally thinner cheeks, but there's very little in it. Overall, comfort is of course subjective, but yeah, I didn't know I had it on. You know, maybe after all day I just want that slightly thinner, but yes, fit has been superb for me. Noise. Okay, so Schuberth have always been well known for being supposedly the quietest helmets. To be honest, wind tunnel tested helmets are done on naked bikes. It's the fairing that causes most of the problem. I've not found, and I don't think I'll find, a helmet that doesn't need earplugs. This is no different. A little bit buffeting noise, but I'm on the Tracer 9 GT, which is a notoriously buffety bike, and I have changed the screen. I'm trying it with a sports screen on there at the moment. So really, nothing to say either for or against this. It's, I'd say, as noisy as any other helmet. There's certainly no undue noises, except I noticed on the way back a slight squeak. I forgot to put my earplugs in on the way to the hotel from the NEC, and I could hear a slight squeak, and I have noticed it, a little bit of a squeak in there. Probably won't notice it with
earplugs in, just a little bit of a creak where you can hear bits moving around, may well settle down. Not something that really vexed me. Drag. So we talk about the weight of helmets. I mentioned in the video earlier that it's more about the wind drag. Certainly no problems whatsoever with drag. You know, I've sat right up out of the wind to make sure helmet feels good, aerodynamics feel good, certainly on the tracer, and turning my head for shoulder checks, no problems at all, feels really good. Venting, the Aero Quantic has become my benchmark for venting. And I've got to say, this is really good. So, I said before, it's got this chin vent. So let's close this one. Let's talk about this one first. It's got this chin vent which blows up across the inside of the visor. You can feel it working. You can definitely feel the very clear difference between open and close. It's not uncomfortable, but it's great. And I deliberately shut it, breathed as heavily as I could, and I was getting my glasses fogging up. Obviously, it's got a Pinlock 120. That's not fogging up. My glasses were fogging. Open that, they clear very quickly. The mouth vent. Open that, you can feel the air, not horrible strong blast, but you can feel the air moving over your face, which is great. I did have the chin skirt on, which kept it nice and still when everything was shut. With the top vent open, I haven't got that flap over yet. I haven't tried yet that yet, where you can close it off so you still get air moving, but it moves over the top. But with those pulled back, the venting's outstanding. It's got two holes, which I expected to create a pinpoint here, but it created this cool area all along here. So in hot weather, when you do tend to get hot, it's going to blow here and go out over the back, out of the exhaust, and down the back and out the bottom of the helmet. I'm really, really impressed with this venting. I don't want to sound too gushy about this. Hopefully you know me by now. I'll say exactly what I think. I've been really impressed with that. Great. Another new benchmark for venting. Cracking the visor just open worked brilliantly. Really easy to do when I'm riding. And of course you can flip it up, but with a lot of flip front lids, I thought, I need to open it up to get a bit cooler. Obviously it was cold, 4 degrees on the way out, but I was making a point of seeing how the venting worked, and yeah, really, really impressed with that. Warmth, it's good and still. It's because I've got that chin skirt on, it does feel very good. It's a nice still lid when you close all the vents off. It doesn't feel stuffy because you've got the exhaust constantly taking air away as your head gets hot and you steam on it, and it's taking that away. Really impressed with that. Fogging, no problems at all. In fact, when I stopped, you could see fogging where the Pinlock wasn't, but because of that movement of air, I didn't have problems with my glasses, which is a big deal for me in the winter because, with the best Pinlock in the world, it's my glasses that steam up, and yeah, no problems with that at all. When I was coming through the NEC and going nice and slow, I just cracked the visor open, and of course that thing where you can open the chin bar and put it back, and the visor goes back where it was. Really impressed with that. And that's kind of all I can tell you about it so far. 100 miles in the lid, I am thoroughly impressed. Obviously, I'm going to be doing a full thousands of miles reviews of this. But if it fits you and you're tempted by one, I would recommend it. I'm really impressed. If you see this video before getting a chance to try one on, give it a go. But overall, this is my new benchmark for flip fronts. I'm really, really impressed.